the daily ritual. Okay, camera is on, microphone is working. Introduction. Good day. My name is Martin Schweiger, and I'm a patent attorney and a powerlifter in Singapore. Today is Sunday, the 26th of October, 2025. It's now 3 p.m. and I go for my daily walk. Let's see where my feet take me today. Yeah, I'm now in the midst of Geylang, which is a quarter of Singapore, near my house. Yeah, all the bar girls are preparing for the work evening. People are sitting. Hello, boss.
How are you?
It's the day off. A worker probably from Myanmar or Bangladesh. So, nice day today. Sun is shining in my face. It's really nice. Germany is cold right now, something like 16 degrees, and here we have 30. Go for a really slow walk. My Oura Ring told me that my readiness level is only 50%. I have some elevated body temperature, yet this is the ring. Very important measurement instrument. Because it logs everything without you needing to do anything, essentially. Or what is needed is that you synchronize every now and then the data is taken over. And he would tell you yeah. See, you see also, I need to show you, that's something typical. The altars that the Buddhists or the Taoists put up, you find them hanging and then they sacrifice food for the gods. Not so sure, but it's part of the life here. So, okay, so today is Sunday anyway. I'm not doing work. I'm very seldom working. I actually do what I like most. Here's also a temple something. Yeah, Sunday. I'll show you. Yeah. Looks. Buddhist society. It's like a church. Lodge. Actually, I like this quarter. There's always interesting things to do and see. Very cute also. Look, there's a lock here. And if you park here, then they would put the lock around your wheel. Then you have to pay. Yeah. Today was a quite lazy day so far. I slept until after 10, so my sleep was 75 of 100 points, which is good. Except my body temperature is high, so my Oura Ring tells me slow day today, which I do, but I still do some walk. I had an interesting encounter over the past days. I told you before in one of my videos that I'm developing, or have developed, a custom GPT that gives me advice on my metabolism. And I've shared that with a friend of mine who's a medical doctor, and she plans to do a new concept where she can look after more people. And I told her about my AI, and she tried it out, and we discussed about it. And I've developed my idea further. And so here's my latest system. The doctor has a meeting with the patient. The initial meeting that is called Anamnese in German. I don't know the English word, but in German it's Anamnese. And then would diagnose what is needed. That can also change over time. But a doctor would then also give some advice of what needs to be done. And dig into his library and give the AI a set of instructions that highlights more information about what the patient needs to do. So, for example, if the patient has a high blood pressure, and the doctor knows that high blood pressure is a symptom that comes with metabolic syndrome, which is if the doctor believes that high blood pressure is a metabolic disease and he wants to treat the metabolic symptom as such, then there would be a certain amount of data uploaded with all about, essentially what I do here in my vlog, my Aging Strong blog. If the doctor thinks that high blood pressure is something that can be solved by a pharmaceutical, there would be a different knowledge being applicable. And if the doctor believes in both, then there's still a third set of data that is relevant. But the doctor would decide what knowledge is in the AI. That's one part. There would also be a dialogue between the bot and the doctor. And at one point in time, the doctor hands over the dialogue with the bot to the patient. Huh? And then the doctor would automatically chase the patient and encourage him to chat with the bot. Tell him observations, and the bot would answer And before the next consultation, the doctor switches the bot back from a dialogue with the patient to a dialogue with him. And then asks the bot, what has this patient told you over the past months? I mean, the doctor could also just look through the dialogue and find out himself, but it's much faster if the doctor asks the bot to summarize. Also list the questions and list the answers and the suggestions. And then the doctor would have the meeting with the patient and go through that. And of course, record the meeting with the patient and find out whether what the doctor learned from the conversation of the bot with the patient, what changes in the therapy or in the treatment or whatever the doctor would suggest, and then update the knowledge of the bot with the new insights. It could also be that the new insights now switch to a very different level. For example, if the high blood pressure is not because of a metabolic syndrome. So and so on. And that way, the doctor stays in a communication with the patient. But also the patient has someone who chases him. And also there would be a channel for the doctor where the doctor can automatically encourage the patient to do things. Like, for example, did you log your steps yesterday? What did you do? How was eating? Did you drink alcohol? Whatsoever. And then encourage the patient to put this into the dialogue with a bot. The reason why there's an extra channel is because the bot not necessarily sits in the smartphone of the user, although it could. But communication with the patient should come over a channel that the patient is already used to. For example, WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever. While the actual data should not be handled over those channels, it should always be in the secure cloud. And moreover, a few concerns are addressed. My concern would be, is the personal data of the patient safe? And I would say, never believe that data is safe. I would keep the patient data anonymous. So no name, birthday, phone number, insurance number, whatever is linked. Only the doctor would know who is the patient behind that data. And that should sit somewhere in a notebook that is handwritten on the desk of the patient. And the patients should have a direct line with the doctor. It can be an anonymous messenger I mean, in my case, yeah, I don't know whether I would care. But the data, measurement data should be there without being linked to a certain person. By the way, when you feel that the video is more shaky today than the other days, then you are right, because I forgot to charge my gimbal. It's a, the swivel head camera carrier, and so what I took is I took the fixed one. Yeah, but I thought better the fixed camera head than no camera head at all. And I believe it's not so bad. It's just a bit shaky. Shaky. Nice car. Excuse me. If you want to have counterfeit, then this is the place to go. Singapore has really changed a lot. This place here, 20 years ago, at the same time, would have been full with people. Today empty. The doctor asked me, do I need to prepare all those questions and answer them? And do I need to sit there while the patient is discussing with the robot? I said, no, it doesn't. It works alone. No, the AI is good. Of course, it's not always correct, but that's because you go through the conversation and you can clarify any misunderstanding. Then also, the doctor, how about liability? Will the bad advice of the AI, if it gives bad advice, be counted against me? And my answer is very simple, no, because it depends on how you do the advice. Number one, I would do a little training session with a patient, just like a driving license, to make sure that they understand that the machine is answering and that it may be inaccurate. And then for every advice given, I would train the bot such that the bot says, hey, be careful, this is not a health advice, but I'm here for talking with you, and before you take any measure talk with your doctor. Only he would be. So if you do this, and of course for patients like myself, after 10 times being reminded, I wouldn't want to hear that anymore. So the doctor must then disable that. Or maybe even a simple command given by the patient would cause the AI to stop with all these caveats and fallbacks. So but I believe if it is always clear that the patient is speaking with a robot, then liability should not be an issue. Then the costs, and I understood that a price of 49 euros per month for a patient would be acceptable. And to me that sounds quite good. Feasible. And then on top, of course, the doctor's fee for the monthly meetings. Plus on top, examinations for lab tests and other stuff. So, to me, that is feasible. So that's quite a cool idea, and I believe for preventive medicine, quite reasonable. Oh, so hot. Ups, da. Yeah, I believe I'm pretty through with the system. And the question is, how do we earn money? So number one, the doctor earns money because he would have a better service and then can find patients that are willing to pay for that. Then this specific doctor can help to distribute the system to other doctors and even build an ecosystem on that, so that the support system is a source of income. Based on a license fee from the software manufacturer. No. And the software manufacturer can sell his subscriptions better. I would want to have a doctor that uses that system. And I believe as a patient it's also much better than living unattended. Because of the back channel through WhatsApp, a doctor can much better encourage his people to be more persistent with health issues. Yeah. Then, discussion point with the same doctor, because she didn't understand how AI works and what it does, and why this also works with respect to medicine. And these people really misunderstand how engineers work. I mean, so I tried to explain to her and say that engineers are facing reality. And she thinks, yeah, sure, but for us, each patient is different from another patient. So, and what works for one may not work for the other one. And then you engineers, you always have a solution. And I said, yes, in principle, when we model things, yes. So modeling means that you create a mathematical description so that you can predict the behavior of a system. Yes, that's engineers are trained for. Modeling, I'm always modeling. So I can better predict what is going on. And that's not all. Now, then there's reality, and reality doesn't always follow the model. So I told her, take a chemical factory. It's a huge system with a lot of pipes, pumps, pots, heat exchanger, and so on and so on. And you build 2 factories with the identical plan, and you put the 2 factories next to each other, they have a different behavior. Almost like humans, I would say. So or take a mold that is used for injection molding. The mold for injection molding, two different molds, they don't behave the same way. They fill differently. One has hiccups, other one has but they're built to the same plan, according to the same plan. And maybe they run on different machines, in different rooms, but even in the same room next to each other. What helps for the one mold with the machine may not help for the other mold, which is supposed to be identical. Or in materials testing, you have 2 pieces of certain material, let's say concrete, because I've worked with polymer concrete for some time in my life. So you have cut 2 test pieces from the same block, and they behave entirely different, as if there was a different material from the first one, but they are cut from the same block of polymer concrete. So I don't think that you can say that engineering is different from medicine, human medicine. And also my nice towel. Also the systemic thinking that I learned as an engineer is the same. For example, diagnosing illness. And for me, I'm now in the meantime an expert for metabolic health problems. And so I can diagnose that. And I always make an analogy between an internal combustion engine and the human body and the components that provide energy, like the mitochondria. I always say that mitochondria is a bit like a carburetor, because mitochondria convert oxygen and a fuel, can be glucoses, can be ketones, but can also be a fermentation product in cancer cells. So oxygen, no, but this is converted into ATP. And then the cell uses ATP plus oxygen to produce energy. And the oxygen comes from the air that we are breathing. And so diagnose. If something is not working, if someone is tired, either no oxygen or no energy. If the oxygen content in the blood is high, then very likely there's an energy problem. So let's look, how does the patient react to food? And then you test. and verify different hypotheses. So I believe that mechanical engineers can also be good doctors. Especially if you're an engineer that is trained in systems and control identification, systems and control theory. Then a final thing. I saw a video where someone presented the data from a 117-year-old lady who had the best measurement values that you can imagine when it comes to DNA, to the gut health, to the blood values, to the everything. Yeah? But still, she died at age 117. And there was even a paper published on that with all the measurement values. And I believe you should try to find this video. It's really worth watching. And then what he made is a very sharp observation. He said that the report doesn't speak about sarcopenia. And he referred to a picture that showed a lady in a wheelchair. So obviously she couldn't easily move around anymore. And I also didn't know the word, but sarcopenia is something like a decay of muscles when you grow older. And the report says that this 117-year-old lady died in her sleep peacefully. And the maker of that video said that he suspects that her diaphragm stopped working. Diaphragm is this muscle that goes through the chest, and you can either excite it by your own will when you breathe in, right? Because the lungs themselves are not a muscle. Lungs is a big surface that is specialized to absorb air, oxygen or gases into the blood. So the ventilation of the lung is done by a separate muscle, which is called the diaphragm. And the author of this video presented material that says that you can also have sarcopenia in your diaphragm, which means that you become so weak that breathing is impaired. Yeah. If that is the case, then very likely this lady died in her sleep because the diaphragm couldn't ventilate the lungs anymore. And the author of the video complains that the report is so silent on this possible cause of death. Because, yeah, if this lady would have been stronger, then she might have had another year or two, or even 10. But the important thing is, this lady had a perfect metabolic health that I would love to have. And also she had some genes that promoted a long life, or good measurement values in your blood and your body. Yeah, let's see what I do. For the time being, at least I don't have sarcopenia. I just set 4 national records in powerlifting in Singapore this year in March, or was it February? One of the two. So, yeah, quite important. Yeah. In the end, it will be like a car that is over its lifetime. I had done that actually once in my lifetime. I drove a car until it literally failed, and I just kept it going. To keep it healthy, I put motor oil, engine oil, and I always made sure that there's enough water in the cooling system. And I repaired all the components that underlie wear and tear, like brakes, clutch. I changed the tooth belt, plastic tooth belt. Actually, it was a Fiat Ritmo 85S. It was a good car. 85 horsepowers, low consumption. And so the motor kept going. But at one point in time, the gearbox failed, and I was simply not in the mood of taking apart the gearbox, because it's a major thing, and I was already studying and working, and I didn't have the 1 week or so or 2 weeks to repair that. So I just scrapped it. I drove it to the scrapyard with a single gear that was left. And that was it. And I believe the same will happen to me. Because I know what to look for. I believe I will stay healthy for quite a long time. And then something critical fails that cannot easily be fixed. And then I will die. And I always like these stories when people die in their boots. Like, there's this old pilot who broke the world record for the first time faster than sound. And he was an army colonel, retired. And in his 80s, he gave a speech to young cadets and flew back from the airbase when he did this. And then he got in a severe storm, and his little aircraft was torn apart, and he fell on the ground and died in his aircraft, age 87 or so. quite spectacular, I would say. But yeah, the same can happen to me on my motorbike, or some stupid mistake on a fall from a ladder, or at a very old age, and then don't recover. So I don't think that I will be a large liability. For my next ones. At least I hope so. And yeah, but what gives me hope is that over the past 2 years I found out how to measure, and the more important, how to influence my own health. And I've done it without pharmaceuticals, although it's not really correct, because you could say that my supplements are also pharmaceuticals. Like the vitamin D that I take, today I've forgotten to take it. I do immediately when I'm back. So even I believe the supplements that I take are pharmaceuticals, but they are not, how to say, made like pharmaceuticals with clinical studies or so. Yeah. That always brings me back to my old friend Robert, who passed away already maybe 10 years ago. He had a company for distributing health supplements, and he said that if you just overdose health supplements by a factor of 4, they really become active. And that's what I do. I just check what happens if I overdose the supplement, and then would check what can I measure. And if I can measure, then I overdose, like my vitamin D. And I just make sure that I achieve what I want to achieve, namely that my vitamin D in the blood goes up. Yep, so this is where I'm coming from. We're now 48 minutes into my walk. That was a nice slow walk, huh? You have also seen some parts from Singapore. I have somehow not found what I wanted to find. There is a Korean barbecue where you can eat as much as you like for a certain amount of time, and you still pay a flat fee. I saw one on when was that? Friday, I believe, on Orchard Tower near the Concord Hotel, on the backside of the Cabbage Plaza. And I will go there very soon. Oh, there's something special here. Just want to show you. See, there's a tent that extends out to the street. And that could be a funeral. Let's see. Let's find out. Who? Hello. Hi. What are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Huh? What is this? Huh?
We are celebrating our Natukong birthday.
Birthday?
Yes.
Ah, happy birthday. Bye bye. Go inside? You sure? I'm a Christian.
No problem. No problem.
If I go in, then all the ghosts and spirits go out.
No. We will keep inside.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hello. Oh, okay, then I leave on. I don't make your life difficult. Hello. Wow, that's very interesting. Okay. So, do they have names? Do these gods have names?
Natukong.
Nachogong.
Yeah, Natukong.
Tatugong. Ah. Ah.
Driving in from Green.
And what is fortune reading? What,
See your luck.
See my luck. Okay. So I can go in and then they tell me what happened in the future, right?
Yes.
Ah. Not
So we
bad.
got something interesting. You can stay on for a while. You can take a look.
Stay here.
Stay just a while.
No, I'll go back. I'm hungry and thirsty.
Yeah.
Okay, go. Bye bye. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Bye bye. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Okay. No, one thing is clear. I don't want my fortune being told. That is sure. That's interesting, huh? Okay. Did I promise too much? This is Singapore. Ah, yeah. The helpers are sleeping. This is not that they don't have a home. This is the day off. Then I just do something. Okay. See you next time. Bye-bye.